You are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact, and more revenue in your business. Tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Today, I want to bring you a serious question because the rubber's hitting the road. We're needing clarity. Do you get out of bed every day with the goal of doing what you want? Or do you get out of bed every day with the goal of doing what is required? Because that moment of decision has massive ripples and consequences. This is Amplify Your Marketing Message, and I am your host, Campbell Rapin. I'm a business mentor and strategic advisor to business owners building their business empires. And I work with the people who are driven by the second, who have got crystal clear that it's not enough to want it, because truthfully, wanting a business is not the same as creating one. And they are really aware that they need support, understanding, building foundations and skills around the steps that are required to create the business empire. So many people are starting businesses today because of a desire for freedom, a desire for want, and a desire for the easy street. And I saw a great quote on my social media feed a couple months ago now, and it was simply a recognition that the people who struggle want ease. The people who are middle ground want applause and a gold star. And the elite want pressure. And I thought, wow, is that accurate? So many people are selling you on an easy street that begins in chapter 10, not telling you, and most omitting in the fine print, you're going to have to travel from 0 to chapter 10. And I just burst your bubble and I watched it happen. The truth is that if you want to jump into ease and you want to be driven by want, then there are smarter ways than starting from 0. And that's why, truthfully, I think one of the smartest ways to get into business today is not to decide that your idea is the only path, but in fact, acquiring an established business allows you to catapult into chapter 10 and refine something that has proof of concept. I know when people come into my ecosystem, many times they're not sure what they want, but they desire change. And I said, I am not the mentor who's going to leave you and support you with an acceptance that the path is easy. Instead, I'm going to invite you to take a journey where you are focused on what is required to create success as you define it, and to create stability, longevity, cash flow, and a business that feels like you are in control of the wobble, even when wobbles happen unexpectedly. So if you're sitting there in the camp of many who thinks, I just want it so that I can pick up my kids, I can work 3 hours a week, and I can do as little as possible to make a lot of money, you're probably in the wrong room. And trust me, there's a whole bunch of people that can invite you into theirs and sell you on a pipe dream, but that is not the room I serve. I'm in the group who says, I do want to be seen. And I like the pressure, because I am committed to a vision. And yes, that vision will evolve over time. I give myself growth as a goal, as a consequence to that. Because building a business doesn't happen through ease, it happens through pressure. And most of your really great ideas, truthfully, never see the light of day. I know when you're beginning, your biggest concern is that somebody might steal my idea. That's never a consideration for me because ideas are a dime a dozen and I have 100 of them a day. And my biggest reason I have a strategic mentor for my business is so that they can remind me to vet those ideas quickly, to move decisively, and to stay in my lane. Ideas come cheap. Commitment and doing what's required is where you pay rent every single day. And if you are wanting to build a business, I always tell people your job is to be the spark so that you are clear on the vision of what you want to create. No two businesses are built the same. No two visions have the same attributes, timelines, expectations, and resources. And you get to build a business empire that suits you. But if you simply want easy street, I'm going to tell you candidly, and you've heard me say it before because I 100% believe it, go get a job. Because that is truthfully the easier path. Is it a guarantee of income? No. There's a lot of people who are losing jobs who are highly capable. And I've been in those shoes where I've been a highly capable, high performer and still lost my job. There isn't job security other than betting on your ability to create value. And you're going to need to still do what's required. And that means following somebody else's guidance, hitting KPIs, and running to somebody else's expectation. But even when you are a business owner and you commit to doing what's required, you don't have 100% freedom because you must do what's required for your clients. You must do what's required for your strategic professional services. That might be your accountant to stay in the legal side. It might be compliant. It might be all kinds of interesting things in the back end of running a business. But the biggest shift for me over the time in my own business journey has been the steadfast requirement to do what is required. And I call that non-negotiable. And if you've been around me for a while, you hear me talk a lot about non-negotiables because non-negotiables mean I do it regardless. I do it in adversity. I do it when I don't want to. I don't wait for motivation. And it is a steadfast commitment because I have said my vision is worth it. Is yours? Because if it is not, you are not in the right room. And when you are building a business, there are important things that you know. And this is true at every level of business. So many times I see, first off, this daydream of, I want a business so I don't have to work and so I can spend all this time doing just what I want. And I said, you know what? That is really fascinating, but that is not the norm. But you can absolutely play in freedom by doing what's required. And you can start in chapter 0 and build your engine and build your empire. And you could also catapult into somebody else's business and have an easier path by acquisition. And truthfully, if I look on the horizon in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there's going to be a lot of phenomenal businesses for sale. So my goal is to create cash because I expect Clear Acceleration to be an umbrella organization with multiple business entities under it. Because that to me is fun and it will create the ease and the creativity that I desire in my empire. Let me break it down because it's been a while since we've talked about this. This is for the room that wants to do what's required. And I will just 100% be clear right now out of the gate, it is not going to be easy. I want you to be asking, is it worth it? Because it's the value system and the meaning that you associate to this that helps you stay the course. And when you have setbacks, as you will, if you are pushing towards something that is stretching, you can quit the field temporarily, but it is up to you and that fire you light that says, I will get up off the floor, and I will be back tomorrow to do what is required. And when you are looking at the world of business, you need to understand the economics of business. So Christine's going to take you through some economics 101. Welcome to back to school, my friends. Business is always about supply and demand. It's not about, well, I want to go do this, so I'm going to create a business. You need to recognize the yin and the yang of supply and demand. Supply means what you bring to the market. And a lot of people start businesses because they have an idea and they think I can bring supply to the market, never spending time figuring out if there's demand for it. And I will tell you, curating demand is an intensive, expensive, long runway. Can you do it? Absolutely. Is it easy? Not a chance. Is it the only option? No. But you've got to go into your business idea not just thinking in your own lens. And truthfully, this is the biggest challenge we face. Because when we are nervous, we internalize. We look at our own stuff. We get in our head. We have all kinds of challenges to simply bring confidence and visibility to the marketplace. Because when you are visible, there's a lot of people judging. Welcome to the game and the arena, my friends. But you've got to get out of the thinking that it is about what you do for the marketplace. Truly creating a brand new innovative idea is hard work. It's pressure. And you will often not get a gold star. And you won't have ease for quite a lot of time in that journey until you put in the repetition to build proof of concept, to see consistency, processes, and a steadfast commitment to doing is what is required. So you've got to shift your lens. And honestly, this is the one, I think, of the top reason people hire me. They don't know, truthfully, but this is it. They hire me, as you should, to help you evaluate the demand. Because when we are clear on what the demand is, we can adjust our offer to serve it, which means we get to more yeses, we get there more frequently, we get there more profitably, and we get there with more conviction. And business starts to get easy at that point, but not before. And so what is demand? Demand means somebody who will buy your product, sees it as a priority, is committed to the results. Anybody recognize what that is? You hear it a lot in other words here on this podcast. We're talking about finding your next buyer, which is not the same as your current buyer, i.e., a client or customer you are already serving. It is not the same as your past client. We are needing to find future business. And we have to be sure that future business is robust. What do I mean by that? More than one person that wants it. You want a repeating problem, a priority, a volume, which doesn't have to be millions, but it certainly looks, for most people who serve professional services, consulting, creative work, it is that 3 to 50 clients a year. But you've got to build an audience, a buyer. You've got to be able to identify where there's demand. And a buyer has 3 attributes. They're problem aware, which means you are not convincing them about, well, I've got something to sell you. And they're saying, who cares? Wake up. That's not a buyer. Please, please, please wake up. That's not a buyer. But you have to know that they already see a problem. And because they have a problem and it is a pattern, that means it's a repeating thing. Good news. That means there's stability in your supply, demand. And the second thing that they are is because they've tried to solve this problem and it's been around a while, they have tried things before. So they're knowledgeable. And that knowledge is uncomfortable because they know they're not getting the result or they would not still have the problem. Because there's that uncomfortable truth, they have some level of open-mindedness. And that's quite a scale sometimes. They're open-minded to saying, tell me an alternate way. because I know the problem I've got. I am tired of it. And a whole level of dropping your own BS is required for you to draw the line again in the sand and say, I'm not doing it this way. Tell me more. So your job in that piece is to interrupt the pattern and show possibility. But the third thing your buyer has to have is a commitment to doing what is required. That does not mean that they're not going to come a little kicking and screaming, but you also need to recognize that. And you need to slow down your delivery so that you can keep them in momentum. And you have the support, touch points, capability, and resources to reaffirm their vision, to cast light onto the visibility, and to be reinforcing doing what is required is how you get the result. It's a non-negotiable. You can't get there anyway, other way. And while you may have all the skills, you don't have the responsibility for the results, but you do have a responsibility to support them, i.e. your client, to getting those results. So you've got to look for the demand. And I can just tell right now you're listening to this going, oh, this is like Christine at church. You cannot have a successful business if there is no demand for your product and services. And sometimes I want you to know that it's not an issue of, well, the world see value in what you are offering. It's that you are in the wrong room. If you are in rooms where somebody says, I don't need what you have, I don't prioritize that result, and sounds good someday, that's a wrong room because that's not a buying room. That's somebody who wants it, but is not prepared to do what it takes and what is required to get there. So the longer you stay in convincing mode or in activity in that space, the longer your runway to the next yes to your offer. So the smart set, pay attention here, get out of that room. And that leaves a pregnant pause. Well, Christine, if it was so easy to find the room, could you just tell me where to find the room? Well, chances are I have some good ideas. But I would not be able to provide guidance to you unless I was really clear on the demand and the supply that we're trying to solve. So the first piece of the puzzle is stop focusing on what you bring to the market first. It's cart before the horse. You need to have an idea and say, where's the demand for this? What's the volume of demand? What's the competitor set in the demand set? And you need to manage capacity. Because in every business, there is a mathematical equation. You've heard this here on the podcast before. Business is math. You have demand and you have supply. And when you have more demand and less supply, guess what happens? Prices go up. If you have an excess of demand relative to supply, price goes down. You need to manage capacity. And I have a mantra that I say a lot every week for sure with at least several of my clients, which is demand and supply is a capacity equation. And capacity is always solvable. It's time to get into solving mode because you are prepared to do what's required. It's not enough to want it. You have to put in some effort here to get to the equation. And so you want to be managing capacity. You want to ensure that there is demand before you have supply. And that is why if you're in a system or business that has services, you need to be thinking about your competitors, your market positioning, what you're bringing to the table, and you need to recognize that it is easier to sell something in advance and then create it than to create it and hope you can sell it. Stop buying into the Field of Dreams business strategy. Your love of being a creative is killing your business results. The answer is simple. You want to pre-sell before you create. And you need to hear that, because pre-selling a product that is sold helps you with urgency to deliver, helps you fine-tune a great result, and helps you ensure that you keep top of mind, that you are focused on what is required to deliver the commitment you made in a pre-sale. Final piece of the puzzle in doing what is required to build a business empire is to recognize that you have one responsibility every single day, and that is to sell. Doing what is required means making offers, finding the next buyer, and marrying an offer to a potential client and moving them from curiosity to paid client. That's the client growth engine. And I had a recent really fun conversation with a client who is struggling with cash, was struggling with capacity, i.e. they have excess of it. And what has changed working with me? They are aware now where the demand is. They're going after it tenaciously. They are focusing on knowing how to serve and how to create product, not in advance, in response. And the comment they got just in my inbox just this morning, I've made more offers in the last 2 weeks than I made in the last 3 months. What do you think that means to their bottom line? The answer should be, it's a hell of a lot healthier, and will be a hell of a lot healthier moving forward, because they're doing what is required to build a business. They have let go of the pipe dream that says, I just want to catapult into number 10 chapter where I just have to work 3 hours a week. I said, that could be your vision, and it is. But we have to do what's required now to build it. So get out of your own way. Build the foundations. There are 5 non-negotiables every business on the planet needs. We always start with the first 3 in our programs at Clear Acceleration. And then we add in 4 and 5. You need to know who the buyer is. You have to move them strategically from curious to paid client with a marketing strategy. You have to be able to convert the sale and make sure you're viewed as the must hire. You have to be able to influence people to deliver what you promised, to manage the business, to track the math, to run it and have it run it like a business. And you need to be clear. Where are the numbers at any given time? Business can be elegantly simple. So if you're listening to this today and it rattled your cage, well, I'm grateful for that. And so are you. Come and find me. There's space in the Business Scale Accelerator one-to-one mentorship program, and there is a group activity that you can join as well. It is time to focus on not just what do you want, more importantly, how will you get there and what is required. And if you're not damn certain what that is, smart money is to hire us. So I'll see you on the inside. You can book your consultation to talk about the options. ChristineCampbellRapin.com/strategy-call. And I look forward to helping you build that business empire. It's go time, my friends. Let's make it happen. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit ChristineCampbellRapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.